Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2 Unit 5.4 Notes. Today we are talking about real zeros of the cubic function. Now, our learning target today is to be able to identify the real zeros of the cubic function. You ready to get started? Me too. So, when we are talking about the real zeros, what we are talking about is we are talking about the x values where the function intersects the x-axis. Okay, so once again, sorry, it's kind of chicken scratch. It's the x values where the function intersects the x-axis. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at example number 1, and there is my x-axis. So how many times does it intersect the x-axis? Well, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and if you were writing those points down, you don't have to, but if we were to write the points down, okay, I'm at -1, 0, I'm at 2, 0, and I'm at 3, 0, but that's where x equals -1, 2, and 3. So it says to use the given 0, find all the real zeros of the cubic function. So what they're telling me is we've got this big equation. Okay, here is our function. F of x equals x cubed minus 6x squared plus 5x plus 12. And then they told me one of the answers. This is one of the answers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use synthetic division. And I'm going to use this guy, but I am not going to change. So we do not change. We don't change because they're saying 4 is one of the answers. Okay, and then I'm just going to actually move this up a little bit. I'm going to look at my coefficients. So I've got a 1, -6, 5, and 12. Remember, we dropped the 1 and it comes down. 4 times 1 is 4, and I'm going to add these. -6 plus 4 is -2. 4 times -2 is -8. 5 plus -8 is -3. And then 4 times -3, we get -12. And we get 0, which is our remainder. So we get 1x squared minus 2x minus 3. Okay? So when we're solving, it's the 1x squared minus 2x minus 3, and that equals 0. So now I want to factor that. Is there a GCF? No, so I'm going to multiply. I want numbers that multiply to -3 and add to -2. Well, it's just 1 and 3, but one of them has to be negative, and it's going to be a -3. So I can say that x plus 1, x minus 3 equals 0, and then everything with the variable we set equal to 0 and solve. So we get x equals -1, x equals +3, and remember, remember what they told us at the very beginning, that x also equals 4. Okay, so you can leave your answer like that, or you can write them all in order, -1, 3, and 4. Okay, how do I know that there were 3 answers? Well, this right here told me that there were going to be 3 answers. Okay. Number 5. So there we go. That's what we're starting with. And this is what we have. Remember, we do not change. So don't take the opposite. We're going to keep it the way it is. We're going to keep the 2. And then I need a 1, a negative 24, oh, and a positive 36. Okay, we drop the 1. And then 2 times 1, we get 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. Okay. 2 times 3 is 6. Negative 24 plus 6 is a negative 18. 2 times negative 18 is negative 36, and 36 minus 36 is 0. So we get 1x squared plus 3x minus 18 equals 0 because we're trying to find all of the zeros. There is no GCF, so I'm going to multiply. I want numbers that multiply to get to negative 18 and add to get to 3. Yeah, it's 3 and 6, and one of them has to be negative, and it's negative 3. I can do the shortcut because my leading coefficient is 1, so I have x minus 3, x plus 6 equals 0. And everything with the variable I set equal to 0 and solve. So we get that x equals 3, x equals negative 6, and then don't forget that x equals 2. So once again, you can leave your answers like that. Mr. Grice is kind of crazy, so I like to put all my orders, or all my answers, my solutions in numerical order. Okay. Number 6. There we go. We know that x equals negative 3. We don't change it. We keep it as a negative 3. So my coefficients are 3, 13, 13, and 3. Let's see, can you guys do the synthetic all on your own? Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, and you should have gotten 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. You can see all my synthetic division above there. Now, as I'm trying to factor this, there is no GCF, so I'm going to multiply 3 times 1, which is 3. So I'm looking for numbers that multiply to 3 and add to 4. There's only one combination, and that's 1 and 3. Now, I cannot do my shortcut here because my leading coefficient is a 1. So I'm going to have to factor this like we used to do. Okay? I need to take the GCF out of the first group, which is an x, and the GCF out of the back group, which is just a 1, and it's a positive 1. So I took out an x and I took out a positive 1. And then when we divide that out, I get 3x plus 1. 3x divided by 1 is 3x. 1 divided by 1 is 1. So we get 3x plus 1. And then we get x plus 1 equals 0. So everything with the variable I set equal to 0. I got 3x plus 1 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. So I get my answers of subtract the 1 and divide by 3. I subtract the 1 And then remember that -3 was an answer too, so x equals -3. Now, Mr. Grice, he's going to put them in order. So I've got -3, -1, and -1/3. Remember, you do not have to put them in order, but you will see me do that. Because I'm crazy, yes. Okay. All right, number 7. Oh, there we go. Excuse me. Okay, so we'll do this last one, part of it together. Remember that the -1 comes out front, and then I've got a 5, a 1, a -5, and a -1. You drop the first number, -1 times 5 is -5. 1 plus -5 is a -4. So then we have -1 times -4, negative times a negative is a positive. So that turns to a +4. -5 plus 4 is a -1. And then -1 times -1 is a +1. And -1 plus 1 is 0. So we have 5x squared minus 4x minus 1 equals 0. And then factor. Okay, why don't you guys do the factoring on your own? Go ahead and pause the video and good luck. Okay, and when you're all done factoring, you should get 5x plus 1 and x minus 1. Everything with the variable I set equal to 0. Remember that I need to subtract 1 and divide by 5 for the first one. Then I need to add 1, and then my other answer is -1. And then Mr. Grice is going to put them in order, so -1, -1/5, and +1. Those are our answers in order from least to greatest. All right, guys, well, that's it. Now your homework is 5.4 practice. It's a little review, so make sure you read the difference between when they are telling you an answer versus they're telling you it's a factor. There is a difference between the two. Okay? All right, guys, well, that's it. This is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2, Unit 5.4 Notes. Thanks for watching.